Now that we have the dark mode theme, the next step is to customize the elements. Okay, so before we start, let's go back into the puzzle theme. This is one of the most important steps. Right now, the layout delegate is calling the simple puzzle layout delegate. We want it to call the dark puzzle layout delegate. So first, let's refactor. We do this by right-clicking, going to refactor, and then rename. And we're gonna call this dark. When we go back into dark theme, we'll change it here as well. So let's go into our custom mode and select the puzzle layout. Scroll all the way down to the bottom to find the smallest elements. Let's start with the button. If I take this text, and I put a quote around it, now we have this overflow, but we can customize the text and say something like, press me. You could change the gap, which would also cause an overflow. And then you can change this image if you wanted, and start changing the colors. We want this button to stand out because it's one of the primary actions. Let's go ahead and do primary 7. And you can see that it automatically updates. It's brighter than everything else and stands out just a little bit. The problem is that this icon is actually an image, so we can't customize the color. It's best to keep this text both for readability and just for the sake of convenience as white. Let's move on up. The next element that we have is the simple puzzle tile. So we can go in here and we can adjust the different qualities of the tiles within the game. So the first thing we can do, we can play around with the border radius. If we make it 0, they become full squares. And if we make it 50 or anything above that, they become circles. So let's keep them as circles. So we can also adjust all of these. Right now it has the foreground color as white, but we could make this theme.white. You could change the hover color, you could change the default color. And as we scroll up, the next thing that we see is the grid view. So this is the actual board where all of the buttons are aligned. So right now the title is Puzzle Challenge, which is defined here. But what we can do is delete that and we can make it whatever we want. So we could say dark mode and it'll update. So the start section contains all of the elements within here, everything above the actual puzzle tile. Board builder, which is that middle section. There's a background builder, which is actually everything here. And then dashes in the foreground. If we go back to simple, you can see dashes in the background and everything else is in the foreground. So there's a start section, an end section, which is going to be shuffle. And then there's the actual puzzle, which is right here. And if you go onto desktop, it will have the start section on the left side. It'll have the puzzle in the middle. It'll have the final column, the end section on the right. So now we've really identified all of the elements that you would need to customize to create your own theme. So in the next video, I'll just be showing you how to create them.